And I was like, wow, it's been really not good. I want my husband to serve me more. I wanted him to anticipate my needs. And then he was just like, can I just be completely honest? I don't feel like you serve me either. And it literally was like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the lessons that I'm learning in marriage in this season. I'm really excited to get into this because this is just really transformative for me. I'm learning so much, and honestly, I attribute a lot of what I'm learning to me and my husband having a lot more like in-depth conversations. We're really exploring each other's minds more in this season. And we're also reading this book called 8 Dates by John Gottman. And this book is really good. It really just dives into like the intimacy of communication and the questions you guys should be asking each other. And it's just a great book. So that's the season that we're in marriage. And it feels really good, honestly. It feels really good. So I just wanted to share some of the nuggets that I'm walking away with in this season. And I wanted to be transparent about some of the things that I suck at and some of the things I'm growing in and learning in, and just share that with you guys, for all the wives out there, for all the wannabe wives, for all of the people that are just in relationships right now. Like, this is just good information for you to have, period. So let's get into the video. The first thing that I'm learning is not to be assumptive. So I've been with my husband, we're going on 5 years of marriage, and altogether would be going on 6 years of knowing each other. And I think because of the length of time that I've known him, I assume that I always know what he's thinking or feeling. So if he does a certain action or he doesn't do a certain action, I find that I will attribute a certain like character trait, or attribute like, oh, okay, this is what he was thinking when he did this or when he didn't do this. And it's been really not good. Like, in my mind, sometimes I'm learning that just because I see him doing something or I see him not doing something doesn't mean that what I'm thinking about why he did it or why he didn't do it is true. So I'll give you an example. The other day I was having a conversation with my husband, and I was saying like, babe, when you don't plan date nights, it sends the message to me that you're not thinking about me. It sends the message to me that you're not considering me, and it makes me think that you don't want to spend time with me. And he was like, oh my goodness, that is so far from the truth. That's not what it is at all. It's really because we haven't figured out childcare with our son, and because we haven't figured out childcare when it comes to date nights, I just don't want to like plan something, and then because we don't have someone to watch him, it just won't end up working out. So he's just like, it's really because my first priority is figuring out what we're doing with our son, and then I can really start like getting into date nights. Like, he was like, I actually have so many date night ideas, and I really want to spend time with you. That's really just what I've been thinking about first. And I was like, wow, that's so crazy, because I was thinking something completely different. And I think sometimes we do that when we feel like not considered, or when we feel like there's a level of inaction or lack of action or whatever. It can make us sometimes assume what the other person is thinking. So that has been really helpful for me to realize, just don't assume. Ask him what he's thinking. Ask him why he didn't do it. Ask him why he did do whatever it is. And I've been having a lot more of those conversations with my husband, where I'm just telling him straight up, this is what I'm thinking about you, and this is what I feel like you're doing. Is this the case? And this just goes into like believing the best. If you're with somebody and you trust and love them and you trust in their character, you have to choose to believe the best, even when you feel like you're not being considered, or even when you feel like they're not doing something that you may want them to be doing, because they could be thinking about something completely different. And I've just been realizing that's been the case so much lately in our conversations. So I wanted to share that with you. Okay, so the second thing that I am learning right now is that if I want more service in my marriage, then I also have to be willing to serve as well. The other day I was having a conversation with my husband, and he straight up told me, like, man, I don't feel like you serve me. I don't feel like you go out of your way to make my life easier. And, these are the ways that I think that you can do it. And it really was eye-opening for me because I was going through this phase where I was like, I want my husband to serve me more. I want him to anticipate my needs. I want him to do this and that and da-da-da-da. And I never even considered for 1 second that I wasn't serving him. And it's just always better to give than to receive. It feels so good to give to someone and fill their cup up and make their life easier. It feels so amazing. So my husband essentially told me, like, what would really help me is if you cook twice a week. Everybody that knows me knows that I hate cooking, so I never cook. My husband has always been the one that cooks in marriage. And that has just been something that I've recently changed. And it feels, even though I hate cooking, it feels really good when I cook a meal and he eats it and he enjoys it. It makes me feel like, wow, I just filled my husband's cup. I just contributed something to him. I just served him in this way, and it makes me feel really good. And I end up feeling really accomplished just by that one little act. So I'm saying that to say, you have to be willing to serve if you want service in return. And when I say that, I'm not saying, oh, you have to give in a way so that you can make sure that you're receiving like this, like tit for tat. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying it feels good to serve, so serve. And don't be expecting things from people that you're not giving yourself. And that's just always something important to remember, especially in relationships and marriage. We often don't see what we're not doing, but we always see what the other person's not doing. And just having that conversation with my husband where he was able to just straight up tell me, like, hey, this is what would really help me, and this is how you can serve me in this season, literally just was so game-changing for me in our marriage, and he's happier and I'm happier. So yeah. The third lesson that I'm learning is that trust can be broken in small ways. We often think that the only way that you can break trust is by something really big, like a betrayal or something like that. But one of the things that I'm learning in the book 8 Dates by John Gottman is that you can actually break trust with your partner when you're saying, like, hey, I'm gonna do this, I'll be here at this time, and you're not there at that time. Or you tell them, like, I'm gonna do this certain action for you, and then you don't show up for them. The other day, my husband and I were talking, and he straight up was like, hey, you told me you were gonna do this thing, and you just didn't get around to doing it. It actually bothered me. And I feel the exact same way when I express something and I say, hey, can you do this for me? And then he says he's gonna do it, and then he doesn't do it. It bothers me so much because it feels like he broke his word, even if it's a small thing. So that's just something that I'm learning, because I always knew that there would be just a negative feeling attached to if he says he's gonna do something and he doesn't end up following through. I just didn't know that it was actually trust being broken. And the book has really helped put words to that and really helped open my eyes and my husband's eyes to seeing, like, no, trust can be broken in this way as well. And you guys are actually eroding trust when you guys don't show up for each other in the way that you said you're gonna show up for each other. So that's a really short, condensed, compact lesson, but really recommend the book. And yeah, that lesson has just been game-changing as well. And the last lesson that I'm learning in marriage is being willing to voice my needs. I'm realizing that in every season, my needs change. So for example, in this season of life, I'm pregnant. And I want more acts of service from my husband because I'm a lot more tired. And even though I'm so used to doing certain things myself, like maybe washing up a dish or grabbing water, it means so much when my husband goes out of his way to bring me those things. So for example, like bringing me water, bringing me a snack at the end of the night, I'm washing up that last dish that I never got to wash up, or whatever the case is, because I'm tired. And being able to say, hey babe, I'm tired. I actually need a lot more acts of service from you in this season. Whereas in seasons past, I didn't need it as much because I wasn't as tired. And I didn't realize that every single season where things are changing, we have to come back and kind of reconvene and create a new rhythm for our relationship where we're both saying what our needs are. Earlier in the video, I was expressing to you guys that my husband was essentially saying like, hey, I just really would love if you cook twice a week. It was because his needs changed in this season, because he's working more in this season than in seasons past. So he doesn't have time to cook for me 5 days a week or 4 days a week like before. Now he needs me to kind of help and step up because he's working so much. It doesn't want to always have to worry about food at the end of a work day. So being able to voice those needs to each other and being able to lean on each other in those moments where it feels like I need you here more, even though I never needed you here in the past, has been really good for our relationship and has really taught us to depend on each other, and is building our communication muscle, because we literally didn't realize, like, man, we need to voice our needs a lot more to each other instead of expecting the other person to just know. I remember, right, in like a first trimester, I would be like laying in bed being like, oh my goodness, I really need him to bring me water right now. And I'm like, okay, yes, he's gonna bring me water sometimes, but it's not always gonna be top of mind because I never expressed that as a need. And now he's working on it. He's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna bring my wife water with lemon because that's how she likes it, because she expressed it to me. And it's just so important that we're expressing those needs so our partner can fulfill them when we need it fulfilled. So that marks the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys walk away with so many nuggets from this video, and tell me what lesson has really impacted you the most, something that you didn't realize before, in the comments. I'm just really excited to hear what you guys have to say. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye guys.